This article is about the city's chronological past. For its political evolution, see Madrid capital. The documented history of Madrid dates to the 9th century. Although the area has been inhabited since the Stone Age, the development of Madrid as a city began when Philip II moved his court from Toledo in the 1560s. Madrid has been the country's capital continuously since 1606. History of name. There are several theories regarding the origin of the name Madrid. According to legend, Madrid was founded by Esetena and was named Metragurtha or Mantua Carpetana. Others contend that the original name of the city was Ursaria, because of the many bears that were to be found in the nearby forests which, together with the strawberry tree, have been the emblem of the city from the Middle Ages. The most ancient recorded name of the city, Madrid, comes from the name of a fortress built on the Manzanares River in the 9th century AD, and means place of abundant water. Quote, if the form is correct, it could be a Celtic place name from Ritter ford, and a first element that is not clearly identified *Magato derivation of magos, field, plain, or matus, bear, that could explain the Latin translation Ursalia. Nevertheless, it is now commonly believed that the origin of the current name of the city comes from the 2nd century BC. The Roman Empire established a settlement on the banks of the Manzanares River. The name of this first village was Matrice. Following the invasions carried out by the Germanic Sueves and Vandals, as well as the Sarmatic Alans during the 5th century AD, the Roman Empire no longer had the military presence required to defend its territories on the Iberian Peninsula. As a consequence, these territories were soon occupied by the Vandals, who were in turn dispelled by the Visigoths, who then ruled Hispania in the name of the Roman Emperor, also taking control of Matrice. In the 8th century, the Islamic conquest of the Iberian Peninsula saw the name change to Merit, for the Arabic term Myra and the Ibero-Roman suffix it that means place. The modern Madrid evolved from the Mozarabic Matrid, which is still in the Madrilenian gentilage. Early history. The site of modern-day Madrid has been occupied since prehistoric times, and archaeological research found a small Visigothic village nearby. In the mid-9th century, Muhammad I of Córdoba constructed a small castle where the Palacio Real stands today. The Moors built a citadel, Almudena, around this castle. They named the area after the nearby Manzanares River, which the Muslims called Al-Majri. For this came the name Madrid, later spelled Madrid. The Moors controlled the citadel until Alfonso VI of Leon and Castile conquered them in 1085 in his advance towards Toledo. He reconsecrated the mosque as the Church of the Virgin of Almudena. In 1329, Ferdinand IV of Castile first assembled the Cortes Generales, a precursor to the modern Spanish Parliament. Although it was ruled by Christian kings, many Sephardic Jews and Moors lived in Madrid until they were expelled at the end of the 15th century, becoming the capital of Spain. In 1383, Leo VI of Armenia was named Lord of Madrid by King John I of Castile. John had previously ransomed Leo from Egyptian Mamluks, offering precious stones, silks and birds of prey for Leo's release. When Leo arrived in Medina del Campo, he was sick and poor. John granted him the town of Madrid for life, Villarreal and Andújar, and a yearly gift of 150,000 maravedis. He rebuilt the towers of the royal Alcazar. Leo ruled for only a few years. Later, Henry III of Castile rebuilt the city after it was destroyed by fire, and founded El Pardo just outside its walls. The Kingdom of Castile controlled the city until the death of King Henry VI of England, when the Kingdom of Aragon disputed the succession. The marriage of Ferdinand and Isabella united the crowns of Castile and Aragon, leading to the beginning beginnings of modern Spain, though the two kingdoms retained their own national laws for a time, until 1714, when under the new dynasty of the Bourbon a centralized state was built under the ways and laws of Castile. The kingdoms of Castile and Aragon were fully united by Charles I of Spain, though Charles favored Seville. His son, Philip II, moved the court to Madrid in 1561. Although he made no official declaration, the seat of the court became the de facto capital, aside from a brief period from 1601 to 1606 when King Philip III installed his court in Valladolid. Madrid's fortunes have closely mirrored those of Spain. During the 17th century, Spain's siglo de oro, Madrid grew rapidly. The royal court attracted many of Spain's leading artists and writers to Madrid, including Cervantes, Lope de Vega, and Velázquez. In 1739, Philip V began constructing new palaces, including the Palacio Real de Madrid. Under Charles III, Madrid became a truly modern city. Charles III, who cleaned up the city and its government, became one of the most popular kings to rule Madrid, and the saying, "the best mayor, the king," became widespread. Besides completing the Palacio Real, Charles III is responsible for many of Madrid's finest buildings and monuments, including the Prado and the Puerta de Alcalá. War of Independence. On the 27th of October 1807, Charles IV and Napoleon signed the Treaty of Fontainebleau, which allowed French troops passage through Spanish territory to join Spanish troops and invade Portugal, which had refused to obey the order for an international blockade against England. In February 1808, Napoleon used the excuse that the blockade against England was not being respected at Portuguese ports to send a powerful army under his brother-in-law, General Murat. Contrary to the treaty, French troops entered via Catalonia, occupying the plazas along the way. Thus, throughout February and March 1808, cities like Barcelona and Pamplona remained under French rule. While all this was happening, the Mutiny of Aranjuez took place, led by Charles IV's own son, Crown Prince Ferdinand, and directed against him. Charles IV resigned and Ferdinand took his place as King Ferdinand VII. In May 1808, Napoleon's troops entered the city. On the 2nd of May 1808, the Madrileños revolted against the French forces, whose brutal behavior would have a lasting impact on French rule in Spain and France's image in Europe in general. Thus Ferdinand VII returned to a Madrid that had been occupied by Murat. Both the king and his father became virtual prisoners of the French army. Napoleon, taking advantage of the weakness of the Bourbons, forced both, first the father and then the son, to meet him at Bayonne, where Ferdinand VII arrived on the 20th of April. Here Napoleon forced both kings to abdicate on the 5th of May, handing the throne to his brother Joseph Bonaparte. On the 2nd of May, the crowd began to concentrate at the Palacio Real and watched as the French soldiers removed the royal family members from the palace. On seeing the Infante Francisco de Paula struggling with his captor, the crowd launched an assault on the carriages, shouting "Que nos lo lleven." French soldiers fired into the crowd. The fighting lasted 4 hours and is reflected in Goya's painting, the 2nd of May 1808, also known as the Charge of the Mamelukes. Meanwhile, the Spanish military remained garrisoned and passive. Only the artillery barracks at Monteleon under Captain Luis de Aoizy Torres, manned by 4 officers, 3 NCOs and 10 men, resisted. They were later reinforced by a further 33 men and 2 officers led by Pedro Vila de Santillán, and distributed weapons to the civilian population. After repelling a first attack under French General Lefranc, both Spanish commanders died fighting heroically against reinforcements sent by Murat. Gradually, the pockets of resistance fell. Hundreds of Spanish men and women and French soldiers were killed in this skirmish. Peninsular War. On 12 August 1812, following the defeat of the French forces at Salamanca, English and Portuguese troops entered Madrid and surrounded the fortified area occupied by the French in the district of Retiro. Following 2 days of siege warfare, the 1,700 French surrendered and a large store of arms, 20,000 muskets and 180 cannon, together with many other supplies, were captured, along with 2 French Imperial Eagles. On 29 October, Hill received Wellington's positive order to abandon Madrid and march to join him. After a clash with Soult's advance guard at Perales-de-Tadjuna on the 30th, Hill broke contact and withdrew in the direction of Alba de Tormes. Joseph re-entered his capital on the 2nd of November. Post-War of Independence. After the War of Independence, Ferdinand VII returned to the throne, but after a liberal military revolution, Colonel Rigo made the king swear to respect the constitution. Liberal and conservative government thereafter alternated, ending with the enthronement of Isabella II. She could not calm down the political tension that would lead to yet another revolt, the First Spanish Republic, and the comeback of the monarchs, and eventually to the Second Spanish Republic and the Spanish Civil War. 20th century. The military uprising of July 1936 was defeated in Madrid by a combination of loyal police units and workers' militias. After this, from 1936 to 1939, Madrid was held by forces loyal to the Spanish Republic and was besieged by Spanish nationalist and Allied troops under Francisco Franco. Madrid, besieged from October 1936, saw a pitched battle in its western suburbs in November of that year and eventually fell to the nationalists on 28 March 1939. The Siege of Madrid saw the first mass bombing of civilians from the air by the German Condor Legion. During the dictatorship of Francisco Franco, especially after the 60s, the south of Madrid became very industrialized and experienced massive migrations from rural environments into the city. Madrid's southeastern periphery became an extensive slum settlement, which was the base for an active cultural and political life. Following the death of Franco, and in order to secure stability and democracy, the emerging democratic parties accepted Franco's wish to be succeeded by Juan Carlos I, leading to Spain's current position as a constitutional monarchy. Benefiting from prosperity in the 1980s, Spain's capital city has consolidated its position as the leading economic, cultural, industrial, educational and technological center of the Iberian Peninsula. 21st century. 2004 Madrid train bombings on the 11th of March 2004, 3 days before Spain's general elections and exactly 2 years and 6 months after the September 11th attacks in the USA. Madrid was hit by a terrorist attack when Islamic terrorists belonging to an Al-Qaeda-inspired terrorist cell placed a series of bombs on several trains during the morning rush hour, killing 191 people and injuring 1,800.